Oops, I didn't know we were doing video, so I just like I'm a bum in a t-shirt. I thought it was just a podcast. I guess it's okay. This is my look when I'm renovating my house during COVID. I mean, what else am I supposed to look like?
Yeah, man, I've been wearing the same thing every day for like weeks.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Backyard Variety Tour. Now, your host, Ian Pozz.
What are we looking at here? We are looking at a brand new year, 2021. What's it going to bring? Well, I don't know. But what we can bring to you are some interviews, some fun and games. I've changed some structure, some ideas to the podcast. If you're following on Instagram, then obviously you've seen the posts that we're going to have a couple new segments. One is going to be half-assed jokes, and these are basically jokes that still need to get worked out. I'm not a stand-up comedian. I do love stand-up comedy. I love telling jokes. I love jokes. And sometimes something comes to you that you think is funny, you write it down. If you're actually a joke teller, you're going to go back to it later and really figure it out, cut all the fat, make sure the exact amount of words are in there, make sure the words that you use are funny, perfect it for being on stage, that kind of thing, in front of an audience, make it turn it into an actual joke, So these are half-assed jokes that still need to get worked out. Okay, so half-assed jokes. Half-assed jokes. Welcome to our new segment, half-assed jokes. I've got a number of jokes here. Let's see what we got. Okay, here's one. Here's one I like. Writers with a million middle names. J.K. Rowling, J.R.R. Tolkien, George R.R. Martin, H.G. Wells, and let's not forget GF yourself. Okay, what else? Half-assed jokes. Oh yeah, here's one. So I feel like there's some leeway with creatives, asking for money through Kickstarter and things like that, GoFundMe, because pretty much creatives are the only ones who can do it. No one is going to pay someone to be the best 9-to-5 office guy. Okay, and that's half-assed jokes. So it's just a new little segment. We're going to be coming up with half-assed jokes. We got our stack here. Eventually they're going to run out. And boy, I better get a crack at because these jokes stink. I'm drinking Lion's Pride from Broken Stick Brew Co. This is actually the last beer of the batch, and I'll be looking to get some more beer in the future here. So always enjoy. As you can see, I've got my lineup. I got beer, coffee, water. I need it all. At some point, depending when the interviews are, we'll be dabbling into the mixed drinks. As you can see, we've got a whole new setup here for the show, and excited to test things out in kind of the late night talk show structure. So that's pretty much what we're going to be doing here going forward. And it's exciting. Oh, the other new segment is TNT. With the help of our little friend Catchphrase. And basically what happens here is we come up with the everything topic. We hit our button here. We get a word. I need to make the guest say this word. Hopefully the guest guesses it. And once they do, then I'll show the word to camera. And then the guest and I will have a discussion about it. Topics not trending. I hate the shit that's trending in the news. It's always so horrible. It's always just about Trump and whatever else, blah, 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 bullshit. I don't want to know what's going on in this day and age. I'd love to live in the past. So topics not trending. That'll bring us on some interesting excursions. We'll do that a couple of times. And just wanted to mention thanks to Russell, who does all the graphics and audio and everything on this cast. Without him, we wouldn't be where we're at. He brings a lot of creativity to this and really helps me out. I kind of send him what I'm thinking, what I want. He puts it into something that he knows he can work with based on what I'm asking. And yeah, it really turns out. So he does all the video and audio and everything like that. And without him, we wouldn't be at kind of the high quality that I'm starting to set the bar at now. And I just wanted to say that today's episode is brought to you by Ray's Flim Flom Shop in St. Louis, Missouri. Ray's Flim Flom Shop, get all your bait and tackle and everything else at Ray's Flim Flom Shop in St. Louis, Missouri. So special thanks to them for sponsoring today's episode. This is episode 690 with Demetri Portelli. And as I mentioned, Demetri is a 3D stereographer supervisor on some of the biggest projects in Hollywood. He is a camera operator. He is a director of photography. And we're going to get to the bottom of the journey of his career. And make sure you stay tuned after the show for special musical performance by none other than Feist. Feist will be here. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you stick around for after the conversation, because Feist that's going to be good. So, and today's secret word, yes, we're also installing a new segment here that we're going to do cash prizes. And basically the more someone loses, the prize amount's just going to keep going up like the lottery. So we're going to do cash prizes to keep an ear out for the secret word in every episode. So we're going to have a secret word for every episode. Keep an ear out for today's secret word. Secret word is blemish. Blemish. Today's secret word is blemish. And without further ado, here's episode 690 with my guest, Demetri Portelli. So you mentioned doing tests, and I wrote down something here, 3D tests for Transformers Dark Moon. So how does that go? Is Michael Bay on set with a megaphone and you guys are working things out with him for the tests? Like, where do you do that? Do you do that in the desert in the middle of nowhere? Do you do it in multiple places? And what were you testing? And did you see the final result in the film of what you were testing and shooting? And was it like, how did it vary? I know that's a lot of questions in there, and let me know if you need them repeated or anything like that.
No, it's fine. That was just a really, really cool day, because we had shot with Cameron Pace's gear. So just generally, from Avatar, the equipment that was made went to Vancouver with the nice Master Prime lenses and did Tron. And from there, it came to Toronto to do Resident Evil 4. And I then went and did a different movie. I was in California to do some exterior shots on a different film in 2D, and I went to see the guys at Cameron Pace. And we have
Cameron Pace, just for people I don't know, and for people.
Yeah, James Cameron and his partner Vince Pace built all the underwater gear for The Abyss, for Titanic, and then for Avatar, the 3D systems and complete systems from the rigs to your on-set controls to monitoring, and even dailies systems and turning around footage. So it was kind of a complete package. Basically what happened is I just, I did one movie in 3D and it was like, yeah, this is really, what I liked about it is extremely challenging, stressful, different than what I was doing as a normal technician. It was kind of double the work, double the cables, double the lenses, definitely double the stress. And didn't have a lot of time on the image side for me to actually look and really get my head around it. So I wanted to train a bit more. And so I was in California anyway, and I said, can I hang out for a few days? And a lot of California technicians were not interested. They were still on 35 millimeter film. This is 2009. And they were like, we're glad you stopped by, Demetri. And after 2 days of not playing with the gear, on the third day, Michael Bay walked in and the studio wanted him to get informed on 3D. So the guys over there said, Demetri, would you take the equipment from Resident Evil that you had, build it, and take it with Michael and show him how it works and do a 3D test, which we did at Playa Vista Studios. We had like the cars from Transformers and cranes, and it was a huge day, machine guns, all kinds of cool stuff. And it was me standing beside Michael Bay all day with the lenses in my hand at the 3D rig, and him looking at me and him pointing at his watch every time I changed lenses and asking me how long this would take. And I went through all the lenses, and I ended up even pulling focus because his technicians had only done film, and they were afraid of pulling focus on the two lenses, even though they're tethered to each other. So it was a really fun day. It was really great. I actually went and did another film, and then Manning, who who taught me a lot of 3D from Avatar, he actually went with Michael Bay onto the film. Michael Bay spent 2 weeks in the press saying he wouldn't do 3D. The studio wanted 3D. And then they said, no, we're going to put a 3D rig on set. So you have your 2D cameras. And once he started using the 3D rig for a scene, you have instant 3D on the monitor. Then he got more into the 3D. He ended up actually buying his own 3D equipment and shooting a lot of 3D. So Michael Bay's style of 3D, I would say, is hybrid 3D, where he's shooting 2D cameras and 3D systems at the same time. And I think there's huge discoveries for him and his team. For example, if a scene was shot in real 3D, everything in the scene should be that way. And then if you change scenes, you might go to a scene that was converted from 2D to 3D, because the look is very different. It's a whole different artistry. It's very hard to intercut the two, in my experience. So I'm obviously a purist or an advocate for doing it the right way on set. I shouldn't, it's a very old tradition. 3D's been around since the birth of photography. There's 3D photography from the 1860s that could blow your mind if you have more access to it. So it's definitely an old tradition and an old craft. It's not new. And when it's done well, it reveals a lot of power and a lot of truth. And when you have that, actually that magic happen on set, it is magical and it's very seductive. And for me, it was like a no-brainer. It's like, this is awesome. When this is working, this is fantastic. The struggle in the industry is for people to actually go to a good venue to actually see the work properly and brightly. And we have been far away from that goal. The theatrical distribution needs to change. Theatrical viewing environments need to get better. So 3D was basically too dark with the glasses
or even hang on to still exist right now, unfortunately.
Correct. But if I don't think theatrical is going to die. I think it's important.
I hope not.
Yeah, I've talked to enough people who are saying, yeah, I'm going to go back to a cinema with my family because it's fun, and we go out for the night. And where else can you hear, also audio-wise, where else can you hear like Star Wars correctly than in a big cinema? There are movies that are meant for the cinema. I just watched both Wonder Womans last week, and I was like, I should not be doing this on this television, and I don't have the audio system for it.
Well, that was actually one question I had for you, is what kind of TV and stereo setup do you have at home? Because a lot of people who work in the industry have the best. There was a camera operator who told me one time gave me suggestions on the best light bulbs to have in your home. He said he even brought those light bulbs to his hotel room when he traveled on the road, just for that extra sense of not feeling like you're in a hotel and that same warmth feeling as being at home when you're on the road for so long.
I've done that as well. I think it's really important. Take a couple of light bulbs to a hotel. You'll get there and there'll be a 30-watt light bulb in the corner, and you're always in darkness. I've just bought it just so I could actually have some light in the hotel. I brought a light bulb. Yeah, at home right now, I'm on a 3D television that I actually used to make a movie. It's a 55-inch LG and a Bose audio system. But I am very interested in the future in using a large wall in my house to actually have a projector and a sound system. It's part of my renovation project, and I'm not there yet. But it is a goal. It is a goal.
Yeah, that's interesting as well. I'm interested in that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing from the beginning I noticed is that you completed a fine arts degree, 4-year intensive program at Arts York in Canada, and you hold an undergraduate in cinema studies. So when I see that someone went to school for film, that means you knew you wanted to do it fairly early on, correct?
Yeah, I was really lucky. I went to art schools. I did a lot of painting as a kid. I had the opportunity to go into the theater program. And for me, that was like, I knew before high school that movies were awesome and I needed to be part of the cinema in any way. I wasn't sure how to get there, but studying English and drama and directing plays and doing stage work, which was terrifying, it was great because I got to really touch on a lot of drama work. And my preference has always been sort of the more intense dramatic work. Also, when it comes to film or theater, I used to love going to the Tarragon Theater, small theaters with 4 actors on a stage. And that's my background. And for me to come out of a university and then pick up a camera was also, I think it was a natural thing that I always wanted to do. But I really did need to, force myself to get more high tech and always chase information to basically put the tools in my hands, and I feel like it's still a process for me. It's still, you're always learning, and it takes a long time. The goal was always to make more of my own work. And I'd like to go back to that place with a family, and basically making music videos in the 90s was cool, but boy, I couldn't make money doing it.
Yeah. So did you say or did you mean kind of that technology wasn't moving fast enough for what you wanted to achieve, or you weren't?
No, I came from the arts. Yeah, I came from the arts. So I didn't go to a technical college for film production, right? I studied film theory and English lit and creative writing. So it's always been like, how do you merge creative and technical things together? The one thing that I've always tried to stay on the creative side, but the filmmaking is a technological art form. And this is something I have to remind myself. It wouldn't exist without brilliant people who mechanically and now digitally make this art form exist. So the art form itself, the art itself is in the technology, and the art itself now, I had an article the other day I forwarded to my partner that I work with. The art is also in the engineering, the digital engineering now. There's artistry in that too. So it's very interesting for me, bridging technology and creativity together.
And what is the Real Workers Film Company, Inc.? Is that your production?
Yeah, that's my company through which I made music videos, and I directed and wrote a couple of commercials as well.
Commercials?
Yeah, commercial spots, and I did a documentary. I did a pilot, and but I got really, I got really busy with our team, being a 3D supervisor and a camera guy. So the last 12 years have been working for some amazing directors, and not making my own projects, but I'm actually just been going through old footage now, transferring it. And I'm very interested, because I started in film, so I'm interested in scanning some 16 millimeter now and seeing what the grading possibilities are with a nice 4K scan. Whereas, when I was doing music videos, there was a one light transfer and then it would go on Much Music. Like, well, didn't look that great. So
right. But you know what? I think you're the type of guy who shortly you're going to get back to doing your own stuff, because right now you are, I would say, at the height of your career, making all this awesome stuff with all these awesome people. You're making money, you got your family to support and all that. And you're going to get back to your making your own stuff, I
think so. I think it's a journey, our business, and you also have to be flexible and jump at certain opportunities, right? And then the actual hard part. Some people are very quick to sort of channel what is their voice and what is their message, but other people, it takes time. So you gotta kind of work that out. When I was 20, I wasn't really sure. I want to make movies. Okay, great. What do you want to make? Well, I don't know. Maybe I could adapt this into a movie. So when somebody finally gives you a chance, I think you really need to know.
That's why I made all these mistakes with my crappy short films, because you gotta burn to learn, is what I say. You gotta make these shitty films on my dime.
Yeah, that's good.
On my own dime, not somebody else's dime. So then when their dime comes around, I'm solid.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I'm still doing that with friends, and I've shot things that I haven't posted online. I did a music video a year and a half ago, and I think we should always be doing that. We should always be making the short films. You need to practice, but then you also need to see how you can pull in your experience to elevate something, because then you're like, oh, well, actually, I do know how to do this. So this is actually better than when I was 20. this is going to be better now. So I would hope that experience and hindsight can help you elevate the work a bit better.
That's huge. I live for those moments of being the guy who comes up with that great solution in that in that time, you know?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And they usually come from these places where you made your own mistakes.
Yeah, mistakes are important, but there's no time in life to make all your own mistakes, right? So you have to also learn from other people's mistakes. So it's great to hear stories from other people about their mistakes. You're like, holy shit, I shouldn't do that. I don't want to drop that lens in the water. That would be bad.
Just tell me a little bit about your directorial debut, Schmooze. I mean, it came out, what, 20-something years ago, 1999?
Yeah, and I need to scan that, and I would like to put that back online. I guess it went to the Vancouver Film Festival and Toronto Short Film Festival, which eventually I think just merged into TIFF. Maybe I'm wrong, but we had a good Toronto Short Film Festival, and that was just made for 4 minutes on 16 mil film. A friend of mine loaned me his bar, and we shot it in 10 hours, and didn't shoot enough, but it was just fun. It was just fun to play with it. David Green, who's a well-known DP now, did a nice job lighting it. So there are a lot of beautiful colors in there. So I really like to transfer that 16 mil because I think it could look quite beautiful. So it was just a fun little short comedy I made with a comedy writer who had been a drama writer at CBC, and I did a couple more with him that I mentioned to him the other day, scanning them and getting them online as well.
I just had a thought, kind of goes back to what we were just talking about a moment ago, but do you find that some people get lost or distracted from their dreams in the industry to keep chasing the money, or to keep chasing at least the comfortable lifestyle of maybe they wanted to be a director, they ended up being, say, a cinematographer or a gaffer or something like that, and then they stuck with that for 20 years or 15 years because the money was good, it's a nice life, they were comfortable, they were happy, and then it also seemed maybe too hard. I think a lot of people fall into that trap of it. It's too, what do I want to go start from the bottom being a director again and learning? I think a lot of people fall into that. Do you? Because in my mind,
I think there's so many
who in their
jobs.
right mind says I want to grow up to be the key grip? You know, I feel like everyone has dreams of being the lead actor, the director, the producer, the writer.
Yeah, and people dream about being cinematographers too. I think it's a discovery of who you are, right? I think some people realize, hey, you know what? I'm really a great cinematographer, but I'm not a great director. Or people are very happy being an editor. Like, you know, they fall into that niche and it's a good zone for them. Maybe they don't like, you know, being a director means you're just going to embrace the possibility of being on set with 100 people every day, and you're going to embrace chaos and stress and, you know, I don't know. I've not directed a big feature film, so I can only imagine. But I know gaffers who I think are incredible and really amazing at what they do, and also they're vital to what you see on screen. I wish when cinematographers got an Academy Award, I wish that was a little bit shared with the team around that cinematographer. I noticed in visual effects, when they get an Academy Award, there's like 5 statues on stage, and there are a lot of visual effects people involved in that final product. And I think there's such a large amount of craftspeople that each played a role, and that doesn't get highlighted enough. And
don't get me wrong, I do believe that, but do you think that people do kind of fall into that comfortable trap of just, instead of doing multiple things, or like you're doing multiple things, I'm still trying to do, there's a very few people who still try and do multiple things because it's very hard to do multiple things. Like I said, it's kind of a comfortable, it's like I could be a location manager and just live a good life, but creatively I want more.
Me too. I guess it depends who you are. For me, it's really, there's a stigma against people doing multiple things. I noticed when I was in the final years of high school, I was doing television. I had some I was acting basically because I wanted to learn directing. So I was doing as much acting as I could. And then when I did my first music video for $700, which I put on Much Music, my agent said to me, "What are you doing? You're directing music videos? You can't do both. You can't be an actor and direct music videos." And that, looking back on that, I was like, wow, That's just the wrong piece of fucking information. Because now you can go listen to an hour of Francis Ford Coppola talking about working with actors and him taking acting classes and what makes a great director. Half of them are actors.
Tarantino too. That's where he started with acting.
Yeah. Otherwise, what are you putting on screen? So you have to be careful who you listen to as you come up, and you have to know who you are. We all have unique sort of qualifications. I really thought my strength was the stage and performance and actors. And I will tell you that the years go by quickly. So I've spent a lot of time technical work in camera, which did sidetrack me, but no regrets, because I have a beautiful family, 2 kids, a house, and we've had a great time. But how to still merge the two is a constant thought in my head, how to bring actors together and get projects made.
Yeah, it's one thing. I mean, I'm a pseudo director. I've directed some short films and stuff, and I'm actor, and I do notice that I have some relationship there, because I know what actors have gone through. I've been on paid sets, stuff like that. I've gotten paid to be there. I know what I needed to go through as an actor, all the auditions, all the failing, all the embarrassment, blah, blah, blah. So I really feel like it does give you an upper hand. And then also when I'm sitting there writing, I say, what are the great lines that I would want to say as an actor? Or what's a great character that I would want to, it brings so much more perspective having that actor background to the rest of the jobs around us in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I think directors should be taking those acting workshops and sticking with it the whole time. I do understand that. I do see the role of cinematographer differently now, and I enjoy it very much if I get to shoot. The director does need that time with the talent and to stage and block things, and it is a very different job than being a cinematographer. So I think people do need to make a choice.
We're going to jump a little bit all over the map here, because you've done so much work. You were a camera trainee on Virgin Suicides. This was one of your very early things. Now, you're working with Sofia Coppola. You're around James Woods and all these great actors at the time. It turned out to be such a great film that I could still go back and watch today. Like, what was that experience like?
Good. And Francis Coppola, the whole family was there. So Francis was there with us for a month. They rented a house in Toronto, and it's still one of the defining moments for me, where I've gotten to work with somebody who I admire. But they say don't work with your heroes, but in this case, working with my hero just reaffirmed and actually gave me hope. It actually gave me a sense that a family can survive in this business, that there can be a lot of love and support of everyone in that family, and the whole family can work together and take some joy in being a family of artisans. I mean, it's 3 or 4 generations for them. Even Francis's father being a musician, and his grandfather being involved in building projectors or something like that.
And
so,
extended family as well, Schwartz and
yeah.
Cage. And
yeah, just a really great family. And I was really nervous starting my family that it wouldn't work. And it's not an easy industry. And I'm not going to say it hasn't been without sacrifice and pain. But then again, I don't know any other way than just to follow my dreams, because I thought following your dreams is what people are supposed to do to be happy, no matter how hard it is. I don't want to be one of those people who gave up. So I don't think you should ever give up, and you should keep trying and doing things, and have a few things when you're done that you're proud of. Working with Francis and Sophia was wonderful. It really was.
Now, you kind of smirked when you said don't give up, because you said, oh, maybe that's a cheesy thing to say in your head or something, but it's not. I saw a clip with Anthony Hopkins, and he said never quit, because you quit and then you got to start all over somewhere else. But if you keep going, you don't know, you could have been a day away from a phone call that was going to change your life if you just stuck with it.
That's good. Thank you for reminding me that. Thank you. That's important. Yeah.
And then there's like another one. Who is it? Winston Churchill or somebody. He's like, never, never, never give up or something. Isn't that it?
Yeah. Well, Winston Churchill. Yeah, for sure. So many great speeches. And Tony Hopkins is so great. He's still going strong.
And you mentioned Francis Ford. I'm guessing he was the executive producer on that. That's what you said. He was your hero. What film? Obviously The Godfathers, or anything else?
More Apocalypse Now for me. Was defining. Excellent. More defining. So when he walked down the street with his Hawaiian shirt on the first day I saw him, I was like, oh my God, that's Francis. He's actually arrived. Because I kind of thought he might show up. He was telling Sophia to direct, or he's advising Sophia. He wasn't interfering, but he was advising that she work with a very experienced cameraman, Ed Lachman, who shot The Limey. He did Aaron Brockovich. And
I just watched The Limey recently. I
Right.
love it. And
Great.
I love Soderbergh, so it doesn't surprise me, but I
Yeah.
love The Limey.
So Ed would not, they didn't have video assist. So she was standing beside the camera and it was 35 millimeter. The second assistant, Steve, was in the dark room and I was doing the slates. It was just fantastic. And Ed Lachman, I still have his Polaroids. He'd take 3 black and white Polaroids with a Hasselblad. And I was looking at one of Kristen Dunst the other day, and you'd see a 2.8, a 2.5, a 2.8.5, and then Ed would look at the black and white Polaroid right before we shot to get the perfect little exposure. And you see that in that movie, the beautiful lighting, even when they're outside in the grass and things. Like, how did he get sort of this magical dreaminess? So he was really very, I mean, still very, very good. He's not shooting probably as much film. I know that he fights to shoot film, but he has shot digital as well. So.
Have you seen The Kid Stays in the Picture with all that background noise about Coppola and Robert Evans? It's a very excellent documentary, one of the best ever, I would say. If you like Coppola, you will love that documentary. The only reason I bring this up is because it was around when I was a kid growing up a little bit, Animorphs, or when I was a teenager, maybe something like that. I remember it, Animorphs. The people who turned into, it was kids who turned into animals. And this is your first gig as a camera trainee. And was this a gateway to 3D? That's what I wrote down. Is it a coincidence, or was this a little bit of a gateway to your 3D life later?
No. Animorphs was just a TV series in Toronto shot on a 16 mil film. And more than that, it was just my first experiences with animals that pretended to be trained. I had multiple tiger experiences in my career. And that's one of the first times I had to hide behind a filing cabinet for a tiger that was off a leash.
Wow.
Yeah. So, wild animals are fun, but they're wild animals, and the trainers, they lose control of them. So on a film set, you got to be careful. It's happened a few times. I try not to work with tigers too much.
You shot wild animals before. Didn't you do a documentary series for National Geographic?
Yeah, Eaten Alive or Human Prey. I think they market it with 2 different names. So I did a lot of animal shooting and tigers there, and got jumped on by a tiger. I've been jumped on by a tiger twice. Somebody had advised them put Demetri in the tiger cage, but with 2 pieces of plywood in the corner with the tripod. And there was another cameraman from Montreal outside in the cage. This is Bobby the tiger, who later went and did Life of Pi. But Bobby, on Animorphs, Bobby was nice. He was 2 years old, so he was okay on the kids show. But after they're 2 years old, they kind of get ornery. And by the time Bobby was 12, when I worked with him again, he was a pretty nasty kind of guy, this tiger. But I thought I was safe with the 2 pieces of plywood and the tripod. So the minute Bobby got out, he just kind of looked around this area where he was meant to walk around. The first thing he did is jump in the air and landed with me inside the 2 pieces of plywood. I guess he thought it was funny. It happened so quickly. So I was just like leaned against the wall with this 700-pound tiger squishing me. He knocked over the camera. Yeah, but I didn't die, so that was good. And then I got off a lot. I think I was doing a commercial and a tiger knocked me off the stage at a casino.
So this is like an ongoing theme. So next time we talk to you, you're going to have another tiger story.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or let's hope not.
Be careful.
Do we want to hope not?
Or not.
The great thing, the thing that I love about you is that you work on all these huge things, but you're a very humble dude, because when I was shooting Sinkers a long time ago, I had no right asking you to be a part of that. And you still came down and sat with me and gave me the time of day and listened. And you're like, well, and you just said, I got this other project and I got to go do this thing. And also we didn't have the money to give you the things that you wanted. And probably if we did, you might've done it. You might've been interested if you didn't have that other project, but we just needed to give you the things that you wanted, side mounts on cars, things like that. Cause I could understand.
Really? Oh yeah. I remember. Too bad. Why didn't I shoot it?
Well,
I should have shot it without the side mount.
No, we only had like $6,000 and you got.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for a short film. I could do one tomorrow for 6,000 and so could you. Nowadays, that's a lot of money.
It's true.
I could even get, but you see, when you're starting out, you don't know. It's scarier. I had a music video go away because I thought I didn't have enough money. But now looking back, you can get favors. And so I think now I'd be better at getting favors just because maybe I know more people with cameras and gear and some lights who wouldn't mind loaning me something. At the beginning, that was a little harder to get. So I would do less lighting and less gear. So
it's true. And I'm a little bit rogue because I don't have the network. I didn't grow up in the CFC or come through the CFC network. Did you?
No, not at all.
So we somewhat have a disadvantage in that regard because anyone who comes in through that network together, they all help. There's like 30, 40 of them, 50 of them, 60 of them. They all help each other on each other's projects, their Kickstarters, their GoFundMe. And that's great. I think it's great. But if you don't have that network, you're not going to be, I make my movies with 3 or 4 people, exactly. they have real sets for a short film,
Yeah. Well, if you don't have it, you just do it. And I was like that too. And that's why I just did my music videos. It's just me and a couple of people, and it was music. So it's a good place to learn anyway. And then I was like, write a feature and make a short film and things like that. So.
Okay. So Demetri, I implemented a new segment here that we're calling TNT. This is topics not trending. Topics not trending. Now, I'm not really a fan of keeping up to date on what's trending and everything like that. So that's why I kind of implemented this little segment here. It'll bring us back to having discussions about random things that just kind of pop up. So with the help of my trusty interactive game here, Catchphrase, which is somewhat like a charades hot potato if you're in a group scenario. You're with friends drinking for a night. It's got a timer kind of thing. You don't want to end up with the catchphrase and you're playing charades trying to make everyone guess the thing. So what's going to happen here is I've hit the button and I've got a word, and I'm going to try and make you guess the word, and then we're going to discuss it. So the word that I've got here, it's one word, and this is essentially someone who would carry a casket at a funeral.
Pallbearer.
Correct. Oh. That's correct.
It's 2 words. It's 2 words. Oh, it's one word. Pallbearer.
One word. Yeah. Now, when I hear this word, I think of the WWF. WWF, and they had a character named Paul, Paul, Bearer, and he hung out with the Undertaker. And he was always like, "Oh, Undertaker," and he was painted white. He looked like he was dead.
Fantastic.
Yeah. What do you think of?
I'm just trying to figure out why he's called Paulbearer, because he's lifting a casket. What's the Paul?
It's a play on words. They're giving him a first name, Paul. Paul.
But they're spelling it Pall. Yeah. I think there's probably a really a smart answer to who Paul is or what Paul is. I think the brass on the side of a coffin that you're holding in the winter as you're carrying the damn thing out from the church, just because I've done it. Sorry, it's kind of creepy.
Oh, that's
a pallbearer? Pallbearers, they're normally 6 or maybe 8 on a coffin.
No 6. Yeah, because I was one for my grandma.
Yeah, so it's a real job, and your casket has these brass sides you're lifting up and things.
I felt honored to be selected, to tell you the truth.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But it's a real job. Like it's a bit of work. It's heavy. Yeah. Pallbearer. It's a thing. Now maybe that was a profession. If people don't have friends or family, maybe you can actually be a pallbearer. I'm not sure.
Professional pallbearer. Yeah. Well,
yeah. They just call him.
The funeral home.
Yeah, he's available. You just give him 30 minutes notice, and
he's the best. He's in the Paulbearer Hall of Fame.
That's right. There's an app now. You can get a pallbearer.
Find my pallbearer.
Yeah.
That's good.
Absolutely. Hiring people for funerals has been a thing for a long time, right? Hire experts.
It's never going away. It's the best business in the world. Funerals and water. Death and taxes, funerals and water. Okay, that was great. Moving on. Next one. Okay, this is Rolling Stones song or album. So if someone's not loose, they're
tight.
No. Blank as a board. They're not loose, they're blank as a board.
Stiff as a board.
There you go. So just the first word. And stiff. Then, and then not lower, but
higher.
Another word for that. So it's almost like not a downer, but
Upper?
there you go.
Mm.
And the Rolling Stones.
Stiff upper lip?
There you go. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Is it the Rolling Stones? Stiff upper lip?
I think so.
Is that an album or a song? No. Is it AC/DC? I got a stiff upper lip. Something like that.
I don't know.
I think it's AC/DC.
I think it, yeah. Stiff upper lip.
What do you think about when you hear stiff
That's
upper lip?
funny. That's funny. I thought it was Rolling Stones, but definitely could be AC/DC. What do I think about?
What does it mean? Yeah, what does it mean? Stiff upper lip. Does that mean you're a stone face? You don't react, maybe?
Maybe it means you have a
Cold?
mustache and nothing moves behind that beard. Maybe it's you. Just kidding. I can see you smile. I mean, if you were a pallbearer, you'd definitely have a stiff upper lip because you're not allowed to smile
There you go.
out there in the cold, frozen. So very stiff upper lip.
There you go.
I don't know who wrote a song called Stiff Upper Lip. That's weird. Like, where did that come from? I don't know. We have to ask Mick Jagger or the guy who writes for AC/DC. Whoever writes for AC/DC.
Oh, what's his name? What's his name? He dresses like a kid. Didn't he just die recently too? He dresses like a school kid from a private school.
Well, that's Angus, the lead guitarist of AC/DC.
Oh,
He's
okay.
he's definitely alive and actually functional. His brother, the rhythm guitar, just died.
That's what it was, maybe.
Angus Young. Fuck. Well, the other Young, anyway. But the singer is trying to come back. He's doing this new sort of. He lost his hearing, so Axl Rose had to replace him in 2016. So he's trying to do a new scientific approach to saving his hearing, so he can actually sing again. Could be.
Have you ever seen a band that replaced the lead singer with someone who sounds like them but is not them? Like I saw CCR with a guy, I think he called himself Mad Dog. He was this bald guy. He sure sounded like Fogerty, but it just wasn't the same, you know?
Wow, no. I almost saw Queen last year at Madison Square Garden with Adam Lambert, but I never saw it. And it's okay because Freddie Mercury is pretty awesome. So I'd rather just have that memory. I mean, I admire that Adam Lambert does a good job, and Queen had a successful tour. And Brian May, the guitarist, is pretty awesome.
It's true, and also I've kind of had a long-standing thing where I like seeing bands that are in the now to an extent, because I don't feel like Fleetwood Mac is going to give me the best show that, you know what I mean? Like it's over. I should have seen Fleetwood Mac in the 70s or 80s when they were killing it. Yes, they are still awesome, but like now to go see them on stage is like going to see Meatloaf on stage being pushed out in a wheelchair. You know, it's just
yeah.
It's different.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I don't want to like. Well,
yeah.
Maybe the Rolling Stones. Maybe I'd still go see the Rolling Stones because
I saw it's one of the most disappointing concerts I saw was the Rolling Stones.
Oh, there you go.
But then I saw Robert Plant and Jimmy Page, you know, I think playing with the son of John Bonham, and it was incredible. It was incredible. It was like I was right there in the with the Led Zeppelin show. So
do you have a record player at home?
No, not currently. But I still have the vinyl. We have one at the family cottage. Yeah, so I collect vinyl for the family cottage. It's a good place to relax and play vinyl. For sure.
So, because that one that you're talking about is Page and Plant and Bonham. They did an album, isn't it? The black and red cover of the Zeppelin.
I have to go investigate that. I forget. I
think that's their new album that they came back after all these years, and Bonham's son was playing with them.
Yeah, Jason Bonham. He's amazing.
Okay, moving on. Okay, last one. This is I don't know why. 2 words, not pepper, but
salt.
And you know, if you got an ice cream cone, what do you do with it? The action of yeah. So salt. What's this? Yeah. So what's the deal with this and horses? Horses like salt, or what do they use it for?
Maybe they need it. Maybe it's like humans. Like in the desert, you should eat salty chips, right? Keep your salt intake. When you're sweaty. Really? You sweat, you lose all your salt. So good bag of salt and vinegar chips in the desert.
Doesn't salt make you thirsty or no?
Yeah.
Seems like the worst thing in the desert to be.
Right. It's a great thing to have in a bar because people will drink more beer. So they should always give you chips. They'll sell more beer. Seriously, yeah. That's a good. No, if if I fail in the movie business, I'll open a bar and have a lot of salty chips.
Salt lick. Yeah, I'll have to.
Salt lick, yeah.
The oats, hay. I don't know what is the salt lick a candy thing to them? I feel like it's something. They eat peanut butter to make them talk. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that.
Interesting.
Yeah, Mr. Ed. They gave him
Right.
a dog. They gave him peanut butter, and they go. You know?
Yeah.
That's he became a star, and that's
Yeah,
I mean that's what they
exactly.
do to me before I come on here. My producer just gave me peanut butter, and I'm out here.
Yeah. Yeah, you should have it on your desk. Yeah.
Hey, they're a new sponsor. Yeah, you're not shy to work on these smaller, interesting things as well, which is nice. Because then you're like we'll talk about it. You're getting into Gemini Man, and I watched Gemini Man because it was on Prime, and I knew I was going to have you on. I said I'm going to watch it, and some of that stuff was crazy, man. Like it looked great on my TV, and I think I just have this, HD or 4K or whatever, and the picture quality is excellent. So going back to what you said, seeing this stuff in an IMAX, there's certain movies and things you need to see on the grandiose scale sometimes, or with the right, like through the right outlet. Like I'm on an HD TV or something like that, and that you were using
ideally
super
you would be on
cameras.
Yeah, you'd be, for a movie like that, it was shot at 120 frames. You want to watch it on a TV at 120 frames, and those TVs are starting to exist. And really, that's the way all sports should be. It's done at 60 now, but that's what happened with the 3D is we were trying to make it better, and 24 frames per second it certainly is an aesthetic, but it was the cheapest for filmmakers to sync with sound. So when sound came in, obviously Charlie Chaplin was at 18. I don't know if he was always at 18, but then 24 came in. So 24 is a known sort of visual aesthetic, and we know sports at 60 is a known sort of visual aesthetic. And 120 for us, nobody's seen this in Canada because we haven't been able to display Gemini Man or Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. Not just 120, but dual 120. So each of your eyes is getting 120. Some people could say it's like 240 for your brain. It's a big information bomb. So for us, it's about visual information. That whole journey is the amount of data you're collecting is an artistic tool. So you go out in the field and you collect more. When you shoot a higher frame rate, you could shoot a whole movie at 240. What that's giving you is a lot more creative freedom in post. A lot of people haven't been able to try this yet. You shoot a whole movie at a very high frame rate, but you could still deliver a movie at 24, but you have more control over the 24. You can sharpen and window things. We've done an actress's eyes sharper, and then you can change the shutter in the background and have the cars all smearing behind her. So I believe in the future, cameras will shoot higher frame rates because it'll be easier to shoot more data and to be able to post the data. Right now, it's still expensive to do it. But it's just about giving you more assets, as an artist. And when you have those assets, you can manipulate. And it's very much like that with 3D. It's a big information bump for the brain. Well, for me, it's the biggest information bump towards realism as opposed to a 2D film. Yeah.
It looks so real. And they're getting into even the stuff that I see in football. There's some, once we finish our interview today, there's some football on. They're cutting away to 8K at times. So the background is all completely blurry, but the guy looks, even on my TV, for some reason, I'm not seeing it in 8K, but I'm seeing the change in quality for sure.
Yeah.
The guy is so crisp, like it's crazy.
You've reached the end of side 1. Turn tape